Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Craven, the hunter, who uses all the methods of the animals.
On December 13th.
Once you're on his list, there's only one way off.
Are you like your father?
He puts evil into the world. I get rid of people like him.
Who's next?
Witness the making of a new Marvel villain.
You think you have some kind of honor. You're a criminal, just like our father.
Aaron Taylor Johnson is Craven the Hunter. Rated R. Under 17 on a minute without parent. In theaters December 13th.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/campaign to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Great days start with great underwear. So if you're looking for something special, give Tommy John and gift a better day. Everything we make is meticulously crafted from breathable stretch fabric for the perfect fit, including our sleepwear for him and her. It feels good to give, but it feels great to give Tommy John. Find something for everyone and pick up something for yourself. Because at Tommy John, greatness is in our very fabric. Don't miss Tommy John's Cyber Monday sale. Save 40% site-wide at TommyJohn.com/Spotify. See site for details.
Welcome to the Eagles Checkdown, the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast there is, covering news, notes, and opinions right here on the Eagles Pinpool Podcast Network. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. You can find me on all social media platforms at Beard and Knowledge, and of course, hosting Trending in the AM Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. on the STT Sports Network, setting the trends for what sports talk should be. And it's Tuesday morning, December 3rd, and we are another day removed from the Eagles' statement win against the Baltimore Ravens, and I've got a lot of random stats and opinions to continue going. And we're a little calmed down. The excitement from the initial victory is over, so we got lots to cover in a very short period of time, mostly on defense, some things on offense. We are going to start with offense, though. It seems like Dallas Goedert has avoided any major injuries, but they are considering Dallas Goedert and his injury, which we didn't really learn much about it after the game on Sunday. But he does have what seems to be some kind of a knee sprain. He is being listed week to week at this moment. We'll learn more as the week goes on, but there is a slight chance he might go on that 4-game short-term IR. And, I think it's time, in the offseason, we will have to have the conversation about Dallas Goedert. Is this already this year, in the last 6 years up to this point, he's missed 19 games in the last 6 years, 20 if he misses this upcoming week against Carolina. The kid, Dallas Goedert's a great tight end. He just cannot stay healthy. So it's something that in the offseason, Howie Roseman, the Eagles are going to have to address this week and this moving forward this year. We're just going to have to get him healthy because he is obviously a very important part of our offense. Get him healthy for the playoffs, and that's all that really matters. The Eagles did make a roster move on Monday, cutting Paris Campbell from the active roster. And I think that is a good indication that Dallas Goedert will miss at least one game, if not more, because E.J. Jenkins and C.J. Uzomah are out of practice squad elevation. So one of those tight ends is going to have to get added to the active roster. So Paris Campbell being cut in the short term fills that in. Paris Campbell actually, surprisingly, I know he didn't have any catches or anything, did do a great job blocking in that third, fourth wide receiver role on Sunday, springing several of Saquon Barkley's larger runs. So I would expect Paris Campbell to eventually latch back onto the practice squad, maybe down the line back on the active roster again. But he did do his job. It just is a numbers crunch with that. It also bodes well that Devontae Smith and Johnny Wilson probably will be available next week against Carolina on Sunday. Adam Schefter was on the Pat McAfee show on Monday, and he said most likely Devontae Smith will be back, that he was almost a good to go this past week. They just were being extra cautious for one extra game. So there's that. Real quick, a side note, like way out in left field here. Everybody talks all the time about Zach Bond. We're going to talk about him in a minute and how he needs to extend him right away for how good he's done. I did a little thread on Twitter that Mekhi Becton is an unsung hero on a one-year deal that needs to get extended. And I was shocked at how many people in Eagles Nation were like, Howie does not need to do a single thing with Mekhi Becton. Let him walk. Tyler Steen's fine, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was just shocked at how many people were not impressed yet this year with what Mekhi Becton, a former first-round pick only a few years ago of the Jets, a left tackle, moves to right guard, and how great he's been and such a vital part of the run blocking of this Eagles offensive line. I think next week against Carolina, I need all of Eagles Nation to do me a favor and pay close attention to what Mekhi Becton does out there on the field, especially in the run blocking thing, because, again, underappreciated. Now, I think the league is underappreciating Jalen Carter, Zach Bond, and this Eagles defense. And I got stats written all over 2 different pages here. I'm going to try to get into some of them. Some of them I won't be able to. But something they just, they just need to change the Defensive Player of the Year award title to the award for the person that gets the most sacks or interceptions. Because Jalen Carter is 50-1 right now to win Defensive Player of the Year, and Zach Bond 100-1. Not even in the top. Zach Bond's 29th in the odds. Now, I'm not saying Zach Bond deserves to be Defensive Player of the Year, but I think he deserves to be in a conversation with one of the best defensive players this year. Luke Kuechly, he won the Defensive Player of the Year award in 2013. Through 12 games, Zach Bond has got 118 tackles. Luke only had 102. Luke Kuechly had 7 tackles for loss. Zach Bond's got 6. Zach Bond's got 2.5 sacks compared to Luke's only 1. And then 1 interception for Zach Bond, 3 to Luke Kuechly. I mean, it's a lot closer than you realize, and how elite of a season Zach Bond's having. He's in that all-pro first-team category. And on top of that, Jalen Carter, being the fact that he's only 14th in the betting odds, I don't think people realize how much havoc Jalen Carter wrecks. I know he doesn't put up 20 sacks or, put up 120 tackles or anything like that. But Jalen Carter's wrecking havoc and being held on every single play, every defensive snap. And on top of that, which is something that doesn't go into the voters' minds, Jalen Carter's becoming the leader. I mean, you just listen to some of the quotes that come out of his mouth about, after the game or during the week. And after the game on Sunday, he was asked about the lack of holding calls, which we're going to get into the numbers on that in a second. He said, I just didn't get none today. On to next week. Not moaning and groaning, not complaining, just on to next week. He was asked about Jordan Davis, who actually had a really great game. Those numbers to come in a second. He was asked about Jordan Davis, and he said, I hope people see how good he was and give him the recognition he deserves. Jalen Carter, before the season started, said he wanted to eventually become the leader that Fletcher Cox was. He didn't think he was there yet, but he wants to be that guy. I'm going to just say it right now on December 3rd, 2024. Next year, Jalen Carter will have a captaincy on his jersey. There is no doubt in my mind, even if Brandon Graham, Darius Slay, their defensive captains are back, Jalen Carter will be a captain on this team next year. There's no doubt in my mind. Speaking of Jordan Davis, there were 32 rush plays on Sunday from the Baltimore Ravens offense. 13 of them, Jalen Carter was on the field for. They gained 39 yards, a 3-yard per carry average. The 19 plays where he wasn't on the field, they gained 127 yards for a 6.68 carry. That is a big difference when Jordan Davis plays and doesn't play. He played 24 snaps on Sunday, 13 of them were rush plays, 3 yards a carry versus almost 6.7 yards a carry without Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis still is a very viable option in the run game. The Ravens obviously held Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and the whole entire defensive line on a regular. And it's something that's got to be addressed by the NFL and the NFL officiating. Coming into the game, first 12 games of the season, the Ravens in 12 games had been called for 26 holding penalties, 0 on Sunday. It is still to this day, now through week 13 now? The Eagles are 10-12, 1 by, through 13 weeks, Eagles opponents are the least penalized opponents of any team's opponents in the NFL. I know it's a tongue twister, but I think you get what I'm saying there. Something's got to be done about Jalen Carter getting some protection from the referees. You can't just armbar him and put him in Kamara locks and knock him down every play. You gotta give him a call occasionally. That's a conscious effort by refs not to call it. And you can't call every hold. There's a hold on every play. That's a conscious effort right there not to do it. One final note I want to make, and I've been thinking about it all week, not all week, since the game on Sunday, about how good Jalen Hunt was in a larger role filling in for Brandon Graham. On a side note, Brandon Graham, Tuesday morning, when you're listening to this, probably already had surgery. He had a Tuesday 5 a.m. scheduled surgery. He'll be in a cast for 2 weeks, and then the recovery process starts. Hopefully we hear more about that, maybe playing another year next year, in the coming weeks. But Jalen Hunt, who stepped up big time and played really well, something that people forget, he was still a safety in college in 2022. And now he's a viable part of the defensive pass rush of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2024. Just think about that. Since week 6 started, which is post-bye for the Eagles, they lead the league in sacks, 30 of them. The highest sack rate, 10.6%. This Eagles defense, which was once considered a weakness of this team, the pass rush, once considered a weakness of this team, is now pretty elite. Guys, this is the Eagles Checkdown right here on the Eagles Pinpool Podcast Network. Check out Trending in the AM this morning, 8 a.m. on the STT Sports Network. Copy and paste the link I got down below. I'd appreciate it. I appreciate a subscribe. Find me on all social media platforms at Bearded Knowledge. But again, this is the Eagles Checkdown on the Eagles Pinpool Podcast Network, the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast there is. I barely got through it all, and I'm just hitting the 10-minute mark here, guys. So go Birds, and bubbles up to y'all.
Great days start with great underwear. So if you're looking for something special, give Tommy John and gift a better day. Everything we make is meticulously crafted from breathable stretch fabric for the perfect fit, including our sleepwear for him and her. It feels good to give, but it feels great to give Tommy John. Find something for everyone and pick up something for yourself, because at Tommy John, greatness is in our very fabric. Don't miss Tommy John's Cyber Monday sale. Save 40% site-wide at TommyJohn.com/Spotify. See site for details.
Rated E to T. You're listening to an ad for PC Game Pass. Want new games on day one like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle? How about living out your Sims life with EA Play? We're talking high-quality PC games all for one low monthly price. We got you. Learn more at xbox.com/PC Game Pass or click the banner. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle available December 9th, 2024. Game catalog varies by region and over time. Okay, that's the ad. You can go back to doing whatever you were doing now.